value of the function means the output, and when they say the function of A, that you're talking about the input. Okay, that's just the language, but you have to get used to that language. Okay, for example, the function n takes the year since the start of 2004 as input and returns the number of Facebook members as the output. That's this. The variable, and then there's another word instead of input and output that is often used, which is to me not as clear, but it's also common. And that is, instead of input, they call the input variable the independent variable, and they call the output variable the dependent variable. Now that part makes sense. Dependent means it depends on the input, right? So, given a particular input, we get a particular output. So, calling this the dependent variable makes sense, but calling this the independent variable is a little bit of a stretch, I think. It's not so great, but I think the way that happened is they wanted to call this the dependent variable, so what are you going to call this? So some idiot said, well, let's call it the independent variable, and that stuck. Right? It's not really independent, right? I mean, I don't know why they call it independent. I don't think there's any deep meaning to that. I think the meaning is that it's the opposite of dependent. But if you're like me, you would have spent about 3 years or 5 years trying to figure out what that means. And I think I finally came to the conclusion it doesn't mean anything. But that's the problem with being a student. If you're a student and you take everything literally like I would, you'll get a big headache. It will sometimes pay off, but sometimes it's just waste. Anyway, I think that's the truth. That independent doesn't really have that much meaning. Okay. Any questions so far? What time is it? 8:31. Okay, while you fill that out, I'll be right back.